we have what I might call kind of naive techno-optimism, which I won't name names, but much of Silicon Valley is famous for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that narrative is also connected to kind of this that dialectic of progress, that we used to have these short, brutish, nasty lives, and shit has just been getting continuously better with capitalism and tech and industry, on a consistent path, and it's going to continue forever. And every problem we have that ahead, we don't really have to worry about because human ingenuity always figures it out. I do think that this is radically naive. I think that it is a more dangerous worldview than fundamentalist religious worldviews.
Interesting.
Because the fundamentalist religious worldviews can't create new tech that gives us more power. And having more power, exponentially more power to affect shit without having comprehensively better decision making means exponential externality equals catastrophic risk. We have a scenario right now where exponential tech means we are exponential. We don't know how to make an intuition around exponents because we've never had them, right? We can maybe make a sense out of like curves that are slightly inflected up for a short period of time, but not really, right? So with an exponential curve, our intuition can't really make sense of it, but we have exponentially increasing capacity to affect the world around us militarily and through supply chains and through extraction technology, through all kinds of things. And while of course there are positive applications, there's more negative applications than there are positive applications because thermodynamics just works that way, right? Like there's one way to put all the pieces of a cell together where it's a cell and it respirates. There's lots of fucking ways to take it apart. And so, it takes a year to build a house or 6 months, but it takes a few minutes with a wrecking ball to break it down. Entropy is just easier. So when we develop new technological capacity, the negative applications have higher probabilities if I'm just looking at an even playing field of probability. So we have to factor that. So if we're two things, we're exponentially increasing our capacity to affect the world around us while simultaneously decreasing the quality of our decision making in many areas because exponential increase in information technology combined with an economic structure where having information, having data is competitive advantage in a system where I need competitive advantage, so I want to both hide things that are true and I want to even share disinformation, right? Like fake left and then go right to get the competitor off of it. We have all sorts of incentive to disinform, but with exponential information tech, media tech, then we get such a glut of noise that you can't even identify signal clearly. And so this is why we're in this kind of post-fact world where it's like, okay, how long do we have with climate change before the coral die? Nobody fucking knows. How much uranium is Fukushima really releasing, or how close is it to a reactor meltdown, or can North Korea's nukes really hit North America or not, or did Russia really meddle in the election, or like we actually don't have the ability to make sense of fucking anything that matters to whether we survive as a species or not, because so we've had this escalating disinformation for reasons that make sense, right? For just competitive advantage on information and incentive to disinform. But that means decreased capacity to make sense of the world, which means decreased capacity to make good choices with increased capacity to make powerful choices. So techno-optimism, why I say it's a dangerous worldview is because it is actually capable of advancing the tech that within the current structure is self-terminating. And so we do need to say, okay, shit, nature does this complex self-organizing, self-adaptive, resilient thing. The era of evolution is defined by it. How do we make a complex human-built world that has closed loops, that doesn't have externality, that is continuously adaptive, rather than a complicated one? And how do we do it in harmony with the complex system of nature rather than, with nature as a finite consumable substrate. We have to figure that out, and that is, of course, even more advanced tech and more advanced science, but fundamentally different.